Jones was removed from Twitter. He was removed for making fun of Oliver Darcy. He doesn't understand that.
Alex Jones used dead children for politics.
You pompous prick. I'm sorry. Fraud. You've all been very good boys. Is that true?
For the most part.
The good news is I can tell you about a gift early this year.
Yes.
I was confused by Wynn's mullet. This is for the whole family, so you can have a great Christmas. A big check.
This Christmas, celebrate the spirit of giving with us as we give back to the community that has meant so much. Join us for the special event this Thursday. It's a Louder with Crowder Christmas.
Good morning. No sip for you. I don't do sips. I'm sorry. I like to sip, but I just don't do it on air. It's something that's weird for me. Stephen is going to be preparing to do shortly that interview that you saw with Piers Morgan, uncensored, 4 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube. Make sure that you guys tune in and watch that. Yeah. It's gonna be a bit of a spicy meatball today. We've got people getting ready to be offended on all sides, and one Englishman getting ready to have his booty handed to him. So let's jump into it for today. The rundown. We've got the Pope blessing gay couples, not gay marriage. He's not saying gay marriage, but gay couples. Ugh. I have issues with that. Don't worry. I'm going to bring in the Protestant church as well. Everybody will be equally offended, but in the hopes of making things better. You know who's making things better? This Argentinian fireball down there. Milei is actually transforming the government, doing what he said he was going to do. Fantastic. Japan buys U.S. steel. Fetterman doesn't really like that, but let's figure out if that's actually a good or bad thing. And then Mug Club, you get to hear a little bit about Texas, where we're going to actually be able to arrest people who are here in the country, I don't know, illegally.
Can we all do it?
Yeah.
I guess we could be deputized. I don't know.
I have handcuffs. I showed you.
Why do you have handcuffs, Tim?
Yeah, what do you use them?
Let's dive deeper into this.
Illegals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is there fur on them?
There's not anymore.
And make sure you have your chats ready to go. I know you're going to have questions. You may even be frustrated with me a little bit, and that's okay. Put on a helmet. Today is the day you need to eat your spinach. I'm not sure that spinach and helmets really go together, but whatever. You're going to like it, and you're not going to like it. And trust me, I will be fair. I understand. I'm not here to bash any particular church at all. I'm just saying, don't do what Protestants have done, and I'll tell you why I mean that. But when you hear this lovely tune, yeah.
Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Josh Firestine, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Josh, you're going to be Friday and Saturday, December 22nd and 23rd. Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, this weekend with JP Sears. We're going to hang out.
With JP?
That's going to be awesome.
He had a thing. He had a little bit about toilet paper. Somebody asked him about it, and he's like, is it okay to put toilet paper like rolling away from you? And he's like, yes, that's like trying to hand somebody a bottle of water by throwing it across the room. Yes.
That's good.
I appreciate that. And look, because we're going to get a little spot, I mean, maybe there's not going to be a whole lot of opportunity for this, but maybe there is. But if at any point you see this, head on over to Rumble. Make sure you get over there. And do me a favor, go to Rumble to begin with. I mean, if you want to start at YouTube for 5 seconds, just to mess with the algorithm and make YouTube think that we are absolutely never, ever, ever going to stop being a thorn in their side, because we won't. Then go over to Rumble. I'm fine with that. Yeah. It's a good way to do it. Piss them off, then leave. It'll make everybody happier.
I love it.
All right. So first thing we're going to get into today, and I had not seen this video. I don't know how he's going to justify this. Just watch it with us. New York City Mayor Eric Adams. He was asked to describe New York and like what made it great. And he makes a lot of mistakes, but there's one glaring one. See if you can pick it out.
Mr. Mayor, we've come to the end of what was a very eventful 2023, right? So when you look at the totality of the year, if you had to describe it, and it's tough to do, in one word, what would that word be, and tell me why?
New York. This
2 words.
is a place where every day you wake
More
up.
words.
You could experience everything from a plane crashing into our trade center
How
to
lovely.
a person who's celebrating a new business that's open.
Is that the brand of New York that you're trying to promote?
Is this
planes?
real life? Did this happen?
I think I remember that in that Frank Sinatra song.
I was New York. I don't know. It's like the missing verse from that song. Like,
Yeah, boy, he's retarded.
yeah. Planes are crashing into the buildings. I don't know I was offended at first because he said one word and he says New York. And I'm like, okay,
New York.
that's 2 words, but I understand fine. And then he keeps talking and I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't get the rules at all. And then he pulls out, you can see a plane flying into buildings. I forgot about all the issues.
Like it's a feature.
Yeah, yeah. He said like
Yes.
how exciting the city is. One day you could wake up and there's a plane crashing and all your neighbors are dying, and then the next day a business opens. Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, exactly.
After we closed it down for COVID. Isn't that sweet?
But all the cleanup the businesses sprouted up to clean up the mess. So that's good for the city.
Hey, maybe a helicopter will crash next. A crane?
Or a plane
crane will
into
fall
the
down?
Hudson.
Another crane will fall down. Cranes
There
fall
you
down so
go.
much there.
Yeah, all the
Or
time.
it could just be more, mayhem and murder on the subways. But look, imagine like you're Hiroshima. And you're like, you could wake up and be incinerated by a nuclear bomb and then visit our beautiful castle.
We've got everything in Japan.
Yeah, we've got it all. Moscow, don't come to us. We'll come to you. It's the stupidest.
Are we doing cities' nicknames?
Yeah, it's like, what is their plan to advertise? Tell me about New York. You can watch planes fly into our towers. Don't do that.
Who elected this guy?
New Yorkers. I mean, that's the stupidest thing I've heard.
What about Jerusalem?
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Jerusalem.
We'll wait for it.
Come for the temple, stay for the buses blowing up. I don't know. Something like that. It's just, you don't put it on the card. Come for the music festival, stay for the Hamas beheadings. That's not what you're going to say. What in the world is wrong with Eric Adams? It's the stupidest thing I've seen from him, and that is saying something.
It's such a New York thing, too. He's so confident.
He is.
New York.
New York. Yeah,
that's 2
with
words.
other things that I'm going to say. And I love how the
100
guy didn't jump in and interrupt him. He's like, well, he's the mayor. I said 1 word, but he can say as many words as he... Holy crap, he said towers. Really?
He said our trade center, too.
Yeah, I really wish the camera had been on his face when he did that. It just like...
Yeah, see the ISO of the guy.
Yeah, like you're dying inside and you can't show it to the public. Anyway. But look, we've got a number of different topics that I think are going to be fun to jump into today. And look, I want to lead this off with the question of the day. What are your thoughts on the Pope deciding to bless gay couples? Comment below. Let me know. I know that Mug Club chat, you guys are going absolutely nuts with this. Be nice to Kim. I told her to put on a helmet. But I want to set this up really quickly. Anytime a church, doesn't matter what the church is, anytime a church does something that represents a large group of people, I am necessarily going to have problems one way or the other with a policy, not people, right? Sometimes it's people, a lot of times it's policy. Most of the time, almost all of the time, I don't have a problem with the people that church represents, the people that are going to the church. And so let's just make some clear distinctions like we do with the Chinese Communist Party versus the Chinese people. Right? I'm not attacking Chinese people. I'm attacking the leadership of that country and the bad decisions that they make.
China is asshole.
Exactly.
True.
I didn't say it. He said it.
I said it.
So just understand that when I'm talking about this segment, I'm not talking about Catholics, right? I understand that you guys can get very frustrated by being targeted and that people misconstrue what the Pope says all the time. I completely understand that. Look, I have my issues. I've been very, very transparent about some of the issues that I have with it, but not because I hate Catholicism. I went to Notre Dame. I've had these issues, these disagreements, these questions with Catholicism for a very long time. Totally fine. You guys have questions for me about Protestantism. Totally fine. Everybody's on the same team here, right? We're all trying to push in the same direction, but this is going to be difficult because I don't understand why this happened. Okay, let's jump in. In another move that some would label progressive, I think it's pretty progressive, right?
It's progressive.
I don't know that that's a good thing. Pope Francis will allow Catholic Church leaders to officially bless same-sex couples.
Francis is formally allowing priests to bless same-sex couples in what is being called a monumental change for the Roman Catholic Church. The Vatican today included this in a new document that insists people seeking God's love and mercy should not be subject to, quote, an exhaustive moral analysis to receive it. But the document reaffirms that marriage is a lifelong sacrament between a man and a woman, and so it's not like priests can bless marriages or civil unions.
Look, I understand that that's what people are saying, right? I think some people out there are kind of representing what the Pope said, that he is now blessing gay marriage. He's not blessing gay marriage. He's also not forcing anybody to bless anybody. He is allowing it, which is a different thing, okay? So now that I've set that up correctly, let's read what the Vatican's news arm put out yesterday. When two people request a blessing, even if their situation as a couple is irregular, we'll come back to that.
Irregular.
It will be possible for the ordained minister to consent. However, this gesture of pastoral closeness must avoid any elements that remotely resemble a marriage rite. However, they all still end up in the same place. I don't make the rules.
Some good.
So let me. I'm going to make a couple of points here, and one of the points is sure to make people frustrated, and I don't mean it to, but I want you to think deeply about this. To receive God's love and mercy, I would say that the church can't ever get in the way, and it's not the only way to receive God's love and mercy. Throughout reading Scripture, I think it's pretty clear that we can receive God's love and mercy in a lot of different ways, and it doesn't necessarily have to be through the church. So when it talks about that, and then that clip said having to go through an exhaustive moral kind of reckoning, so to speak, I don't think you have to do that either, right? I think anybody can come to God and say, God, I am a sinner. The problem is that God, Jesus, when he walked the earth, never allowed for somebody to come to him and stay where they were. He was winsome and loving, but honest. And that is something that we have to keep in mind here. So there's two different types of blessings. I was looking this up before to make sure I didn't mess this up, but invocative and constitutive. And constitutive is the one where it's basically blessing like a person or a place or something like that, where it's like to like a holy purpose, right? Like, so that's the higher form of blessing. Yeah. Invocative is basically like when you bless your child, but here it comes with no change in condition required. That's an interesting take on this.
What do you mean by that?
No change in condition, meaning like it's not saying, hey, you have to acknowledge this or change that to receive this blessing, right? So I'll give you a comparison, but I just want to set this up with one more thing. The Church of England actually came out and just one day ago officially blessed, or maybe a couple of days ago now, officially blessed their first lesbian couple.
The Church of England is in a new place, and I'm really pleased with the decisions we've made.
Sure, you are, buddy.
That,
we can tell.
Once these prayers are formally commended later this year, that faithful, stable Christian couples in a civil marriage or a civil partnership can, if they wish, come to church, and that their love for each other in that relationship can be acknowledged, celebrated, and the couple can receive a blessing. That's never happened before. I'm pleased about that. But at the same time, I think I need to say, I'm not standing here full of joy, because I think the debate has clearly revealed divisions in the church over these issues, and those divisions cut across. We're a family, and when families disagree, it's always painful.
Yeah, there's a reason. Look, again, I don't make the rules, but look, we can only imagine what Sunday morning at church will look like here in a few years.
We're a family.
That was worse than I thought it was going to be.
No shirts or shoes required.
There you go. Look, and all are welcome, 100%. If somebody comes in who's having an affair and comes, and the church knows that this man has a wife, and he walks in with his weekend fling, hand in hand, you don't think that the church should be like, whoa, brother, what's going on? What are you doing? That's the same kind of thing. Like, I don't understand why this is any different, but I'll get to a bigger point here in just a second. But look, I don't think it's any coincidence that a volcano erupted the same day the Pope decided to bless gay couples.
That's the official headline, too.
That actually happened.
That's real. It was a real thing we saw.
Live look at the Vatican. Actually, that's Iceland. I'm just kidding. But look, I have a problem with what the church has said here, and I have a problem with when I say the church, read that the Pope is the head of the church, and your rules, again, not mine. And 84% of you out there have a favorable view of the church, of Catholics. Just 47% have a favorable view of Pope Francis. You have an issue in this ruling. I understand where people are coming from when they say, look, we want people who want to find God to be able to find God. Yes. But God never left people in their sin. And saying something isn't sin that God says is sin is not loving. It is not the way that you approach this situation. Beating somebody because they're gay is also not loving. That's not how you approach the situation. Have I clarified on both ends where we shouldn't be? Good. Now, in the middle, when people come to God, it's not an immediate, like, you have to be good enough. You don't go and wash your hands before you take a bath. I get it. You don't have to go and clean up your life before you can come to God. That's fantastic. Here's my issue. How do churches end up in apostasy? How do churches go astray? Little by little by little. And you know how I know? Because I'm a Protestant. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, oh, he's going to talk about how Martin Luther left the church because of these issues. Yes, he did, and we'll get to that another time. But what I'm talking about is we are making these mistakes already in Protestantism. Don't follow our example. My issue isn't with homosexuals or homosexuality. It's with the church not standing on the principles of what Scripture says. You can't change what Scripture says. I'm sorry if it's inconvenient to tell people truth. Do it as best you can in a loving way and represent God to them. But we have churches right now that say homosexuality is not a sin. You can't change Scripture like that. That's leading people astray and giving them a form of godliness, but denying the power of it. It talks about that in Scripture. That is a wolf in sheep's clothing. God doesn't want you to do that. This is how problems arise. Don't be hateful. Welcome everyone. Let everyone experience the love of God, but do not, in any way, shape, or form, convince people that sin is goodness. Because you will have a big problem. And guess who has the guy upstairs? He has a problem with that. I worry for people because I want them to hear truth in church. That's fantastic. I want gay couples who are out there who believe in God to have an opportunity to find out who God really is, to understand the full counsel of God and understand what sin is and what it's not. But if you allow stuff like this to go on in your church, how far down the road is it until there's so much public pressure put on that now you have to go a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further, and then 10 years from now you look up and the church doesn't look anything like what you think it should, and that 47% view of Pope Francis being favorable among Catholics drops to 10 or 15%. Easily. And then you have another schism. This is why we have all of these things, is because one person looks out and says, hey, this is what the Bible says, you guys are doing it a little bit differently. Here's my final question for you, and then we're going to move on. Anybody out there who says that Pope Francis was doing this to try to welcome gays into the church, to make sure that the church had open arms for everyone, every sinner in the world, including people who are having premarital sex, yours truly sinned. I repented from that and turned from that. That's the difference. Not everybody does. I understand that. Churches are full of prosperity gospel in Protestant. I understand that. You want to be open. Pope Francis, why couples?
Yeah, why not just individuals?
Why not just people?
Yeah.
You could have solved this problem in a much different way. Instead of celebrating gay couples, instead of blessing them, sorry, the Anglican, the Church of English did that.
What does the blessing do? Because I want to know if you don't get a blessing, do you still get to go to heaven?
Yeah, so this
if you're a sinner and you get to repent, you get to go to heaven?
This is not anything like that. This is basically something in Catholicism where you can get a blessing from somebody like the priest, right? Somebody a part of the church. Basically, it's a method of getting love and mercy from God, accessing that. And I understand it's like blessing your child or something like that. Like I bless you. There's blessings throughout Scripture. Jesus blessed people, right? God blessed people. I understand that. But when the church is doing this in this way, like, it means something. It's an official thing. It may not be the official thing. It may not be the highest form of blessing, but it's a thing. And it's not a rite. It's not a part of the marriage rite. I get that.
And you're right. It's a slippery slope.
Why couples?
A slippery pope. If you
slippery pope. There you go. I like that.
Pope Frank.
Look, you guys comment below. Reach out to me on Twitter at GMorgan Jr. That's fine. We can have a conversation about this, but please don't come at me with, I hate the Catholic Church. I do not. I love everybody out there who professes Christ as Savior and God as God. Yes. Fantastic. But that doesn't mean we can't have conversations about disagreements. Okay. If you guys are still interested in winning a truck, because I think a truck is kind of a nice thing to win. That's a really,
does it come with cash?
It's still, it does come with cash, $10,000, but in quarters. So
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's all in the bed. The entire bed of it's all it would fit. Really, it's 10,000 quarters. That's a lot of quarters. It's like 40,000 of them.
Can you jump into?
Not good at math, but
are you close? I think you're.
I'm exactly.
Oh, look at you.
I'm better than that at math, Tim. Brand new Ford Raptor 2024 edition, $10,000 in cash. Go to crowdershop.com. Grab yourself some sweet merch. Don't worry, there's not like a, Catholics are bad boo shirt or anything like that on there, I promise. Or Protestants. Like I said, I went after Protestantism too, because sometimes we make really bad mistakes. Speaking of a guy who, so far, so good, hasn't made mistakes yet, Libertarian Javier Milei was sworn in as Argentina's new El Presidente.
Por la patria, sobre estos santos evangelios, desempeñar con lealtad y patriotismo el cargo de presidente de la nación argentina y observar y hacer observar fielmente en lo que de mí depende la Constitución de la nación argentina. Sí, juro.
Why did he feel like he was going to burst into flames if he actually touched the Bible? Because the Bible is, I think, that like blue purpley thing. I don't know. I'm colorblind. Sorry, guys. He reached over towards it and he's like, afuera! No, but he said whatever he said. I swear.
Juro.
But didn't touch it. Why don't touch
juro.
it? ¿Por qué no?
I don't know. I don't speak Spanish.
I guess in Argentina, you only have to hover hand the Bible.
Yeah. Really?
I guess so.
So baptism is just getting close to water. Got it. Okay. A week into his job as El Presidente, he is already making huge moves. He has... Do you remember that video that we talked about where he did the Afuera thing? Well, he did it in real life. He cut the number of ministries in half.
Good.
By removing livestock and agriculture, transport, public works,
Afuera.
Territorial development, I'm not even sure what that means, culture,
Afuera.
Science,
Afuera.
Tourism,
Afuera.
Environment,
Afuera.
Women's affairs.
Afuera.
Perfect.
I'm sorry, women, we didn't end with you on purpose. It was just the natural order of things.
I heard he also got rid of women. I heard he...
Well, no, you don't get rid of Argentinian women. No. That's a bad idea.
No.
34% of government jobs were eliminated. The number of jobs, he got rid of half the departments, 34% of the jobs. Now, look, if you were doing one of those jobs, this isn't time for celebration, but you shouldn't have had it to begin with. The incoming economic minister, Luis Caputo, I stuck the landing on that. Sorry if you speak Spanish. Caputo said Milei's government is, quote, facing the worst inheritance in the country's history. That's one way of putting it. He also took other steps to reduce spending and curb inflation. He devalued the peso by 54%. He stopped all government advertising. Public works contracts were canceled. Kind of sucks for those guys. And he stopped payments in the provinces. And I don't really know what provinces actually mean. Yes.
Whoa. Hello there. I'm here.
No, it's Sam's here.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
We're live, Sam. What's up?
You scared us.
Well, I'm sorry, but this announcement can't wait.
Okay.
I was inspired by President Milei's announcement, and so I'm implementing my own series of reforms around the Louder with Crowder offices.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Whatever.
Yes. I know you guys like snacks here, but snacks are arroz.
Wait. What's a Royce?
Yiddish for afuera. So I know you guys like pulling pranks. Wow. Pranks are arroz.
Come on.
Jewish jokes. They've all been done. Arroz.
They haven't all been done.
No,
Merry Christmas.
We got plenty more.
Arroz.
No.
Hey,
You can't take Christmas from me, Sam. Not on my turf, you short, bespeckled Yiddish Grinch. It's not...
No Happy Hanukkah or Kwanzaa either. I mean...
Afuera! Afuera!
Afuera.
Frickin' Sam. Afuera!
Man. That guy's got
Otra vez afuera.
You're an asshole.
Sam.
Excuse me.
Can't take Christmas?
Try.
I mean,
more upset about snacks.
Or Jewish jokes. Come on, they haven't all been done. We talked about this.
Yeah, I got a few. You want to hear them?
How many different people of faith do we want to piss off today?
Might as well go all in.
Anybody want to talk about Scientology?
Yeah.
Mormonism?
Can I get a Jehovah's
Just going to piss
Witness?
everybody off. Every encounter I've had with Mormons has been peaceful and polite. They've been very helpful.
Mostly peaceful, yeah.
I just don't like the theology.
Or their shirts. What's up with that? And their mountain bikes. They're always on mountain bikes,
Helmets?
these Mormons.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Both of them.
Here we go.
You're confusing. All right. So, look, I love what Milei is doing down in Argentina so far. This is exactly the kind of thing that we thought he would do. And look, we've seen people campaign before and say they're going to do all these great things and then get into office and have trouble doing it or completely do an about face and be like, ha, fooled you. Just wanted to be a politician in power. And I would like to come back with that to the United States. Donald Trump has talked about cutting the bureaucracy, cutting debt, and he tried to do a lot of reform in the United States, to give him credit. But look, again, it's not always convenient. It's not always easy to hear. There's frustration. I want to hold people accountable to improve, not to get rid of, not to, hurt. But he tried to reform us, but the government workers refused to implement Trump's policies. He didn't get rid of bureaucrats fast enough. And so a lot of the policies that he put in place didn't actually take effect and do what he wanted them to do. January 2017 to January 2021, hint, that's Donald Trump's presidency. National debt increased by $8 trillion. The first 3 years without COVID, I know that's what you're saying is COVID was a big player in that. Absolutely was. $4.5 trillion of that was COVID. Without COVID, $3.4 trillion. That's a lot. Yeah. That is a lot of debt to be adding on when you want to cut debt. Now, I know that's a hard thing to do. There's a lot that goes into that. And you know who else knows it's really hard to cut debt?
Who's that?
Joseph Robinette Biden, the former vice president himself. $4.7 trillion added to the national debt so far. Seems like he's trying to make some kind of push to records there. And Trump, he made a big deal about draining the swamp the last time, and he's making a big deal again in 2024. He needs to follow through, and he needs to get rid of the people that stopped him from being able to do that. Some of the leaders, that we had in power just wouldn't do what he said. I don't think that happens this time around. What do you think?
I think people are scared.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that some of these people they want to
like the bureaucrats.
Yeah. Yeah, they want to do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, I think this time around, like the bureaucrats, he kind of knows the game a little bit more. Yeah. The first time around, he had to learn, even though he was a businessman, even though he was brash, even though he had the ability to go in and just say what he thought and didn't care what people really, thought about him. I don't think he fully understand the corruption and the rot in the system.
Yeah.
And so to be able to take it out, he needed a little bit of experience. So I'm hopeful that this time around, and I'm predicting, of course, that this time around he'll be president.
The swamp doesn't want to be drained.
No.
So they're going to do everything to prevent that.
Very apparent.
Swamp's gonna swamp.
They like being swampy.
They do. They like being swampy.
Swamp monsters they are.
They are. I hope he drains it. I hope this is not just another political promise that's broken. I hope a wall gets built.
Yes.
It's also a different Congress this time around.
It is, yeah. No, different people are around. He led the way a little bit. So there's a lot of people that have kind of followed the trail that he's blazed, so to speak, right? And gotten into positions of power within Congress and throughout government that might be useful and very helpful for Donald Trump. But it's like, hey, just do it. Build the wall. It's a great idea. Don't make Texas have to make it a crime. Like we'll talk about with Mug Club. But look, Javier Milei, he's cutting government and bureaucracy in Argentina, mostly because they're, I believe, and research, look this up for me if you can. What's the interest rate? I thought it was like 143% or some ridiculous number.
Yeah, it's
inflation is massive. The interest rate is massive. Maybe I'm converting those two. Maybe it's inflation that's 143%.
Yeah, the
interest rate
was 140+%.
It's insane, the amount of issues that Argentina has right now. And look, he's made some good moves. We'll see how that plays out. It may end with a bloody coup. Who knows? I hope not. I'm just saying, when you fire giant swaths of government, people can get a little pissed off that you did it. But hopefully,
I think he's firing lazy people. I don't think they're going to be out there trying to work hard to
in the environment. People aren't lazy that go into environmental sciences.
No,
I'm just kidding. Of course, I'm going to go down this list again. Here, I'll give you a few.
Women's affairs people.
Come on, that's like gender studies. I don't understand what women
are doing much.
Look, if women are being like mistreated almost as if Islam was in charge over there, fine. I understand that you would need somebody being like, hey, we can't do that to the people. That's terrible.
It's also interesting too. Not all these things are eliminated. The departments are eliminated and dissolved, but they're being They're being consolidated.
Well, there's probably you're right.
Ministries,
right? They still
not, the services aren't going away.
They still care about tourism. It drives economic growth in a lot of countries, and so of course that maybe just gets pushed over into another thing. But you got it, culture, science. I don't know what has Argentina contributed to science. I have no idea. But we'll see how this goes. Right? I think it's a good move.
I mean, you got to look at the fine print.
I'm just saying, tell me what you've done. I don't know. You've got an Argentinian football team. That's fine. You've got the Andes Mountains right next door. Great. What have you done science-wise?
Oh, great mints.
They do.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. Okay. But I like these moves, and we will see what Donald Trump does in the United States. So comment below. Do you think Milei is going to be able to turn Argentina around? Yay or nay? Look, if you don't care, I understand that, but you should. These kinds of things are happening in other countries right now. Again, we're seeing this stuff play out in other places. Let's learn from their mistakes. Not have to make all of them ourselves. It seems like we love doing that. And I hope Donald Trump, when he comes into office, he fixes the problems that we have here in the United States and he calls this out. We'll see. I'm hopeful. So,
and Gerald, from
they got the percentage
from research. Key interest rate 133%, inflation 140%.
Well, at least they're catching up to one another.
Thanks, guys.
133%. Can you do me a favor? One more ask, and I'll move on to another story, and we'll come back to it later on. But just do me a favor. In the United States, I think we had 7% mortgages or 8% mortgages recently, and people were freaking out about that because of what it had. Can you do 133% mortgages, please? Thank you. I'd just like to see what that is.
Let's not put that out there in the ether. That's not.
That's you're gonna never pay it off. Like your children's children have to sign on the dotted line.
Like a payday loan.
Yeah, your shanty. It's a payday loan.
Yeah, checks. They wasn't check cash in places.
Oh my gosh, those people are the worst.
Yeah, that's not what that means.
At least one of those guys jumped off a building. Anyway, it was in a documentary. I'm just saying it seemed like a fitting end. He was living high off the hog and, raping and pillaging and decided he didn't want to anymore.
That's good.
Just going to let that sit there.
That's
all right.
Problem solved.
Yes,
all right, guys.
Lone Mart.
Yes, that's right. Whatever it's called, the people that promote it, I don't even know what it is anymore. Paycheck cashing services. Anyway, Brian Callen. Mr. Off Limits is on Tuesdays on Mug Club. He's going to be at the Comedy Zone in North Carolina, December 29th through the 31st. Make sure you go and show him some love if you are in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, or if you'd like to make a drive. I hear it's a fun drive to make over there and see Mr. Brian Callen and see his show on Mug Club. Senior Off Limits there. Okay.
Yeah, New Year's Eve shows are good, by the way. They're really
I was
cool.
about to say.
It's a really cool experience.
Is that a special day, the 31st?
Yeah. If you're a comic headlining, you're always working New Year's Eve unless you are
that makes sense.
Good enough to not have to do it, but I'm not. But no, it's always a good show.
You working New Year's Eve?
I didn't mean to offend you.
No, it's always a good show. They usually have a comedian do like a toast, and they'll do a countdown at midnight, and
that's awesome.
Club will give out champagne sometimes and stuff like that. So it's a cool.
Do you ever is like one of the jokes ever doing the countdown early? Just to screw with people, not like an hour early, so they're like, "Yeah, I'll go ahead and go home at like 14 minutes early or something like that."
I don't know if it's a joke. That's happened before. You know what I mean? In Louisville, Kentucky,
just
last
be mean,
year,
I guess.
We were doing the countdown, and we're like, "We won!" We all cheered, and then someone's like, "It's not even midnight." One of the crowd's like, "It's not midnight."
Pulls out their phone.
Well, we're already playing the song. Drink the champagne.
Drink up. We'll drink for 15 more minutes. Let's end the year. You know what? That's awesome. That's something that I've never understood. Like, let's end the year with a hangover and start the new year like on the couch. It's like,
And people bang their pots at night.
Could be a better way to do it. I don't know. But I don't know. Do something productive. Like jump off of buildings if you own a check cash.
Yeah, okay.
Just kidding. Just kidding. You didn't do that on New Year's. Nobody would do that.
What a great resolution.
All right. Let's turn to steel. The U.S. Steel company has agreed to be sold to Japan's Nippon Steel. And, this guy, John Fetterman, is absolutely not happy about it.
I'm standing on the roof of my home right here in Braddock, Pennsylvania, right across the street from the Edgar Thompson plant. And I just have to say it's absolutely outrageous that they have sold themselves to a foreign nation and a company. Can't do that. Steel is always about security as well, too. And I am committed to doing anything I can do from using my platform or my position in order to block this.
Wow, how did the stroke make him smarter? Fetterman is one like right-wing comment away from an FBI investigation.
Yeah, just it happened to suddenly be like, hey, John, we know it's you. We can see the hoodie and shorts.
Hey, Mr. Carhart, we hear what you're talking about China, too.
Yeah. It's 5 degrees. By the way, when you select backgrounds to talk about industry, smokestacks right here, not the best look, because we're like, we probably ought to get rid of those in the first place anyway. I'm not sure. I know it was cold there and it was probably mostly steam, but hey, it could be killing people down the street too. We don't know. It's Christmas.
He's like, how am I supposed to wake up in the morning and after my stroke and smell smoke? What is that, smoke I'm smelling, or am I having a stroke?
Can't do that.
Keep the smoke, please. I need the smoke. Please, I can't live without smoke.
But that's the Hostess plant. It smells good.
Hostess plant.
Orville Redenbacher's right down the street.
They make ding dongs, and I'm a ding dong.
There we go. Yeah. They can't string sentences together either.
Who let him climb on his roof?
I don't know, but unfortunately...
He doesn't climb. He's such a big
Frankenstein
monster.
I'm on my roof. I'm like, how'd you get there? Who let you do that?
But look, to your point, unfortunately, he couldn't actually find his way down afterwards, so his family had to make him part of the Christmas decorations, and so it just became a fixture. Yeah. Hey, still here, guys.
I imagine Fetterman on his roof. It just makes me think of like a mob with pitchforks and fire going, get the monster.
Like, no, don't look at me. Or listen to me. Either one of those things. Nippon Steel outbid the others that were bidding for this, and it's funny to see that other people were bidding for this, because when you see their bid amounts, you're like, they weren't really bidding. They outbid others with a $14.9 billion offer, which, according to the stock price and the company valuation, is 142% premium. Not a bad deal. If you're going to buy a company, pay 142% more than it takes to buy all of their shares, but sometimes that happens.
That's Argentina money.
That's Argentina money. You can buy the whole country. Milei will probably sell it to you for a deal.
Afuera.
That's what U.S. Steel win. We win afuera.
Afuera. That's more than 2 times the next highest bid, though. They see value in it way, way more. S-Mark was $10 billion, I think, something like that. So that's more than twice. That's insane.
That's a lot of katanas.
Yeah, well, anyway. So here's the thing. Why are people upset? Steel is a matter of national security, right? We've talked about this before. Having steel production is very important here in the United States. It's used for everything. Cars, ships, construction, wars, right? You got to build a ship, you're going to need some steel. World War II, the United States made more than half of the world's steel. Now, here's a big problem with people being worried now about steel. China, they lead the world in production more than the rest of the world combined.
Oh.
We're 4th behind India and Japan. Japan has less land to put steel mills on, and they still produce more than us.
Wow.
This was a huge, huge problem. I spent some time after Notre Dame, not against Catholics. Not Catholics bad. We have the Hitler bad thing. We're not doing the Catholics bad thing. I'm just saying it's not. But I lived in Cleveland, and all these steel mills and the production, a lot of that stuff was already shut down. This was in 2002, 2003. That was a problem back then, but Donald Trump tried to change that. He put a 25% tariff on Chinese steel to try to protect industries. Now, you can argue whether you think tariffs work, whether protectionism is a thing that you want to dive into, but at the very least, you can see that it has been a problem for a while, and Donald Trump understands that problem. Maybe the potential loss of U.S. jobs is what's pissing people off. Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey had this to say. I'm concerned about what this means for the steel workers and the good union jobs that have supported Pennsylvania families for generations, whatever, for the long-term investment in the Commonwealth and for American industrial leadership. We haven't led in industry for a while. You have to understand this. For him to say the good union jobs that have supported Pennsylvania families for generations, are you going to stand in the way of progress? Probably not. Are you going to be a protectionist? Are you going to be somebody who just tariffs everybody else? What about a country who basically just says we're not buying anything from anybody else, or no other companies can buy our stuff and have plants here? You can't be like, a Hyundai or a Honda or anybody else that's producing stuff here in the United States employing American people, even though it's a foreign-owned company. I understand why there is some nervousness here. But should we really be upset about this? Is it really a threat? Well, according to X, I think we're all getting comfortable with calling it X now. Yeah. It's fantastic. It is. DC Drano tweeted, I'm with Fetterman on this one. Don't allow the sale of U.S. steel to a foreign country. This is a national security risk. We should have already learned our lesson when we outsourced nearly all our antibiotic production to communist China. Well, respectfully, I disagree.
It's not the same selling to the country, though.
No,
it's not like it's communist China where the companies are
we're not outsourcing
run
either.
by the government.
Yeah. You know what they did? They bought the steel mill here. Which, at the very least, means they have to employ people here in this economy. And they have to help the communities here. Steel production won't move to Japan. In fact, they agreed to keep, Nippon Steel, agreed to keep the headquarters in Pittsburgh. Could have gone anywhere else. They chose Pittsburgh.
Oh, I can't wait for the new Steelers uniform.
I know, right?
New Japanese Steelers uniform.
It's gonna be like one of those anime books, right? It's gonna be awesome. I don't know. I never was into anime, but it's gonna look a lot better than some of these uniforms. But look, they decided to honor the union contracts as well. I don't know why they did that, but they did, and maintain the U.S. Steel name. Those all seem like really good things to do.
Seems like a good business decision, really. It doesn't seem like anything more than that or malice. Keep the employees happy.
Yeah.
Keep the brand name.
You know what? You know what U.S. Steel was going to do? Go out of business. Afuera! That was U.S. Steel. They were going to try to sell to somebody else who was going to pay half of the value for it. I think that's a problem because they obviously don't see as much potential. Typically, when you buy companies like this, or you kind of shut down parts of it, you streamline it. That's what they like to say. Streamlining is basically saying, hey, we're going to cut costs. You know what the main cost center is for people? We're going to cut people. You're the cost. Sorry. Yeah. You're going to get cut out of this deal. So they're going to honor the union contracts. Unions should be fantastic. They should be very happy about this. They're going to maintain the name. They're going to keep it in Pittsburgh. That seems like a pretty good deal. I understand being worried about foreign companies that are in foreign countries, not the countries themselves, buying up things like this in the United States, especially when people say, well, it's a national security issue. Well, China makes pretty much all the world's steel right now anyway, or at least so much of it that we're buying a lot of it from them. So why isn't that a national security issue that we've solved?
I would hope that our national security isn't being protected by steel plant workers too.
Well, that's also true.
I don't know where the risk is.
Yeah, well, I think what people are saying is if we need steel in a pinch, we don't want to depend on a country we could be at war with to provide said steel. Yeah. I understand that, but that's with everything. Should we not have smartphones? Or should we have to put everything here on? Okay, so should we not use chips? What if China takes over Taiwan and now we don't get access to the microchips? Most of our way of life changes if China shuts that off. Shouldn't that mean that you're absolutely 100% for protecting Taiwan at any cost? And like Vivek Ramaswamy proposed, even though it was kind of silly to say that we could do it in the time frame, make sure that we have those capabilities here. But what about this? In a time of war, if Japan's not on our side, we take it back. If we have to, we can just seize the assets. It's in the Constitution. Yeah. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 2. I think. Look, and it does remain to be seen what Nippon Steel will do with the operations and all the jobs and everything, but U.S. Steel hasn't been thriving for a very long time, and it's time to acknowledge that. It's not a new issue. At the Granite City Mine in Illinois, local steelworker president Dan Simmons noted this: we know what U.S. Steel's operations plan was for Granite City, and it wasn't positive. So myself and members I represent in this community were ready to embrace a new owner that would like this facility. We make grades of steel that nobody else in this country can make. U.S. Steel didn't take advantage of that. Okay, so you have a problem with management. That's new. But he's right. Nippon Steel, they've had investment in the U.S. since 1984, starting in West Virginia. In 2008, Nippon Steel took full ownership of the Wheeling Nippon plant in Falansby, West Virginia. And this is exclusive to us. These are our people going out and doing what no one in the media apparently has done. We reached out to the Falansby mayor, Dave Villogel, sorry if I get that wrong, Dave Villogel, for comment, and he had nothing but praise for the company, saying they are a tremendous corporate citizen. We couldn't ask for more. Since 1984. they've had this company there. U.S. Steel, I don't know who they bought it from, but Nepon Steel has been operating. He also noted that how Wheeling Nippon donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to initiatives like disaster relief, construction of local baseball fields, community function. And look, Nippon Steel sees a lucrative market here in the United States. Cheap energy costs, growing population, economy that seems like it's trying to get turned around at some point with a new person in office. That's fantastic, kind of betting on the future a little bit. Increased infrastructure spending, those things. Sometimes if it's more taxes, if it's more debt, I have problems with that. I understand. But maybe they can succeed where U.S. Steel hasn't. And here's my question for you. Final question on this. Would you rather it go out of business? Would you rather it be bought by somebody who can't see the value and can't turn it around? They may be wrong in their bid. They may go bankrupt. We'll see. But I would rather somebody come in that sees the value and sees an opportunity than to have this just shut down anyway and leave yet another town destitute because everybody depended on it, on the steel mill, for their work. I don't know. That's just me. Look, I've enjoyed hosting. We've got one more story that we are going to do today. Josh and I are going to have a little fun with this one. But this is going to be for Mug Club. If you are not a member of Mug Club, you get this fantastic girthy mug. You also get the book Beautiful Differences from now until, I believe, Christmas. Maybe we'll extend that to the end of the year if you join Mug Club. $89 annually. Go to louderwithcrowder.com/Mug Club. You get this show. You get extra segments of this show and a full additional show most of the time here. With Louder with Crowder, you get our undercover unit, which is fantastic. Alex Jones, Hodge Twins, Mr. Guns and Gear. You get Brian Callen. You get Nick DiPaolo, the OG. You get all kinds of additional things. So go and join today and let your freak flag fly over the holidays. Stephen will be back tomorrow, but remember that interview is coming up here in just a little bit. Piers Morgan Uncensored, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. Make sure you watch. Rumble, we love you. YouTube, go piss on something.